Let's get this show started. We're going to be looking at the Royal Caribbean Cruise episode about the toddler and the grandpa and then that whole crazy family. So let's get. All right, make sure I'm up. Make sure we're up over here. Okay, let's see. Make sure this is up and running. All right, let's rewind this. Let's get this out the way. So this was released today on YouTube trending. Family sues Royal Caribbean after toddler's death. Okay, we got it going. We got it going. Let me see if we got it going. All right, let's play.
The family of an 18-month-old girl who plunged to her death from the open window of a cruise ship is suing Royal Caribbean. The toddler fell from her grandfather's arms, and the family alleges the ship did not.
She fell from her grandfather's arm. Okay, that's clue number one.
Meet safety standards. David Begnaud reports.
They're claiming the ship didn't meet safety standards. That's clue number two. Clue number one fell from grandfather's arm. Clue number two fell from. No, clue number two didn't meet child safety standards.
Chloe Wiegand's mother, Kim, did not hold back right after the civil lawsuit was filed in federal court in Miami this morning.
Royal Caribbean played a major role in the death of our child.
The Wiegand family...
A civil lawsuit? I'm glad they didn't say civil rights lawsuit. But okay, clue number three, they filed a lawsuit.
The attorney is Michael Winkleman. Not hold back right after the civil lawsuit was filed in federal court in Miami this morning.
Royal Caribbean played a major role in the death of our child.
The Wiegand family attorney...
Clue number four, the Royal Caribbean played a major role. Well, the Royal Caribbean didn't drop your kid hundreds of feet up, down the pavement, smack down on pavement hundreds of feet up. Broken face, broken everything, blood all over the place. That wasn't Royal Caribbean. It wasn't Royal Caribbean hands almost dangling your child out the window. So.
Is Michael Winkleman.
It's our clear allegation in the complaint that they either knew about these window safety, window fall prevention codes, or should have known about them, because it's the industry standard.
The lawsuit contains these revealing pictures, which show a wall of glass aboard Royal Caribbean's Freedom of the Seas cruise ship, which has been in operation for 13 years. Chloe Wiegand fell out of a middle window, which was open and is about chest height for most adults. Surveillance video viewed by CBS News shows Chloe standing in front of the lower window, which was closed. Her grandfather, Salvatore Anello, stood over her, looking down.
There's a railing, and then there's a bottom glass that goes up.
He picked Chloe up and says he tried to stand her on that railing.
There was a point where I'm trying to knock on the glass, and when I tried to readjust her, that's when she slipped.
Attorney Winkleman says...
Okay, so he tried to knock on the glass and readjust her, and she slipped. Well, it wasn't no glass to knock on. He knew it wasn't no glass. He's being charged with homicide or murder. Like, you tried to knock on the glass, but it wasn't no glass, dog. Like, it wasn't no glass when you put her on the railing. It sure hell wasn't no glass when you tried to knock on it, and then she slipped.
The picture looking down over that wooden railing proves that the grandfather saw glass before he picked Chloe up.
So you believe the death of Chloe was an accident?
Yes.
But then why sued?
That don't make sense. The picture that they showed us was a glass at the bottom, not the glass where he picked her up at the top with a railing, stood her up there, then he put his hand out to knock on the glass, then she slips. Like, that glass looks very different from it not having any glass. You can tell an open window from a closed window.
Cruise line.
Because they could have and should have done more to protect Chloe and to protect other kids.
We did get a statement from Royal Caribbean. It started by saying, quote, "Our hearts go out to the family for their tragic loss." Puerto Rican prosecutors are really going after the grandfather, charging him with negligent homicide and saying he could spend 3 years in prison if he's convicted. By the way, Nora, little Chloe would have turned 2 years old on Friday.
David, thank you.
All right, let's get into some more videos about this trash news. Or like I really trust them. Let's get into an interview. Which one I want to do? Let's just get into an interview.
41 with it today exclusive. It's a story that we've been covering over the past few weeks here. 18-month-old Chloe Wiegand, her fatal fall from a docked Royal Caribbean cruise ship.
That's right. I sat down with her parents to talk about what they say happened that day, why they're calling for action, and most importantly, who their precious daughter was. How are you getting through just every day, just getting up out of bed?
Like the first 30 seconds of the day.
Hold on. Here come the acting. Here comes the acting. So I don't know what's really going on with this family. You know, by the acting, either they in on the death or it's fake news. So one, they in on it or it's fake news. Although it could be either or. Let's watch her performance here, people.
I don't remember what happened. And then it comes back and I relive what happened. The thing that I latch onto is her memory. She just exuded love.
Can Chloe say let it go?
Let it go.
Kimberly Wiegand says her daughter Chloe was the personification of goodness.
She loved watching her brother play hockey. She loved gardening with me. She could get anybody to smile.
There she is.
I just know that she was destined.
I just know you adding a little too much acting onto this. This, oh.
She was such great things.
Not crying one tear.
I truly
Not crying one
she
tear.
changed so many lives.
So many lives.
Her first kiss was with me. He was like, kiss. And then I had to record it and send it to Kim. Kiss.
Her first word was hi. I mean, she loved people.
The 18-month-old little girl was the light of her parents' life, and her sudden loss aboard a Royal Caribbean cruise ship in Puerto Rico has crushed her tight-knit family.
We have a lot of questions, primarily.
So let's look at the spot where she fell, where her grandpa threw her out. I'm saying he threw her. Where he say and claim she slipped. There's a court case coming up for this crap. Don't know why it's nationwide news.
Her parents' life and her sudden loss aboard a Royal Caribbean cruise ship in Puerto Rico has crushed her.
Okay, so if you're looking at the same picture I'm looking at, look in the middle. Okay, look at the window that's open. You can tell an open window from a closed window. So that mirror, that window right there was black in the middle. Let me point to it for you. Thank you, pointer. Right there. There go the window next to where I'm pointing my cruiser at. So on the right of where I got my black square at, that's the window. So where you see the red dot, that's the window. So he set her up, that was up that high for real. So there's a railing right there. Where the red dot at, that's the railing. That's the same ship, I believe. It is the same ship, it gotta be. Now he set her on that railing. Or stood her on that railing. Then he said he let one of his hands go to check for glass. Then he tried to adjust her. That's when she fell all the way down, hundreds of feet, to her death. Now they trying to say because of this glass right here with a red dot at, they try to say he didn't know that this was open because he was looking down at that glass right there. It's ridiculous, people. It's ridiculous. You know the difference between an open and closed window. That's why this story don't make any sense. You can see the difference between the open and closed window from this video. And you can see the difference from very up close inside the ship. So this is rhetorical. This is rhetorical. Defense is rhetorical, and just this airiness is rhetorical.
Tight-knit family.
We have a lot of questions. Primarily, why is there an open window in the kids' play area?
Because kids aren't that freaking tall to jump out of the window. It's a window, lady. Why is there an open window in the kids' play area?
In Puerto Rico has crushed her tight-knit family.
Okay, let's look at it again. This window with a red dot at, the baby was not big enough to jump out that window at the top with a red dot at. So even if the baby was walking, she would have only reached to this window, that the bottom window. This top window that's like 4 feet tall, kids aren't jumping out windows on cruise ships. You never heard of kids jumping out windows on cruise ships. So this whole narrative of we're gonna sue the cruise ship is their fault that my child is dead. It's the cruise ship fault that my father dropped the baby to the baby death. It don't make sense. The cruise ship need windows, need air. It's the design. Like you don't want a cruise ship. I don't care if it's a kid area or not a kid area. You don't want a cruise ship with no windows. Like you just sealed in and sealed off. And common sense would have told them, hey, close the window. Okay? Even though he give them excuses, close the window. So it's a window there because it's a window there. They don't expect people to jump out the freaking window. Like, come on.
Family.
We have a lot of questions.
You
Primarily,
got common sense. You don't jump out a moving car window. You got common sense. I mean, you don't sit no baby on top of a window half cracked in a car while it's doing 60 on a highway. And then say, oops, I dropped the baby out the window. They think you got common sense when you come on these cruise ships to keep yourself safe. The last thing they're worried about is a baby falling out a window. There's no way a baby can fall out a window. Unless some stupid ass set a baby up on an open window and the baby falls out.
why is there an open window in the kids'
Why are you not crying? Why are you trying to pretend like you're choked up but you're not and there's no tears? Why are you suing the airline, the cruise liner? I mean, your father is going to jail for murder. In this movie, your father is going to jail for murder.
play area 11 stories off the ground?
Chloe's family said
11 stories. The baby fell 11 stories. He dropped the baby 11 stories. That is so messed up. That's so messed up.
she fell.
Now, there's no video of the baby falling from the cruise ship. I haven't seen the video. I guess the prosecutors have. I haven't seen it. So it's not out there. I guess we'll see it when they start the trial. Yeah, right now there's no video. No pictures, no nothing. I guess they have that all in evidence locker.
Through that open window set to slide open to provide ventilation in what's known as the H2O zone aboard the
So the window slid open from left to
Chloe's
right.
family says she fell through that open window set to slide open to provide.
So this is exactly how the design was on the ship. So grandpa, baby, the grandpa set the baby right here on here. I guess the baby was facing towards him, like the baby face was facing towards him. I'm not sure. Or maybe facing the other way, towards outside. I'm gonna say the baby was facing towards him, because for the baby to face towards outside, her legs would have to be outside, and she had to be sitting on that thin piece of metal, and her legs would have to be outside. So I don't know if she was sitting or standing, but either way, to sit or stand on this, you have to see that the window is open or closed. It's tinted. This is like just like this on a ship. When the windows are closed, it's tinted like this. When it's open, you see clear blue and skies, just like any car anywhere with windows. So he walks up to this window. His excuse is I don't know it's open. He sets the baby on the railing. Don't know which way. Then he went to pound on the window, but there's no window there. So in the middle of him pounding on nothing, his arm slips when he tries to adjust the baby in his arm with one arm, and she falls 11 stories to her death. So he wore glasses. He had his glasses on, obviously. He probably had the glasses on. Like, there's no way you cannot see that this is an open environment, that this is an open window.
Ventilation in what's known as the H2O zone aboard the cruise ship. A family attorney says the toddler's grandfather, Sam, placed her on a railing to look out.
And she didn't fall in water. She fell 11 stories and hit cement. She hit the pavement because they were already docked. She hit pavement 11 stories. And that's just a painful death. That's painful.
Outside, believing he was lifting the toddler behind a wall of glass. Something they did often at hockey games at home, with Chloe banging on the glass. Has he been able to explain to you how this happened?
He was extremely hysterical. The thing that he
She's not hysterical no more, and she was never crying. So she's back calm again. Her whole mood has changed up. Same interview.
repeatedly told us is I believe that there was glass. He will cry over and over. At no point ever has Sam ever put our kids in danger.
He must be distraught.
Very, very distraught. I mean, you can barely look at him without him crying. She was his best friend.
And the father never broke a tear in this interview. He never showed any emotion. I mean, he talked about the first kiss with his daughter, but they don't show emotion. And this interview was done. This is an older interview. It was done maybe a month after the child died. So they should still be crying and grieving or something. Because when you recall that memory just a month after, like, all that emotion and pain come back to you. So, and to say they don't blame the grandfather is stupid. Of course they blame the grandfather. They're not saying it. But in this movie, of course they blame the grandfather in this movie.
I guess I would say this about the window. When they told me Chloe had died, I didn't
Let's see her.
Look at him without him crying.
Well, let's see her change up her acting. She go from calm to back to that pretend, wanna be outraged or sad.
She was his.
Rewind.
our kids in danger.
He must
So this is her talking normal. I rewind it.
Over and over. At no point ever has Sam ever put
No
our kids in
tears. No
danger.
He
tears.
must be distraught.
Very, very distraught.
Of course, no
I mean,
tears
you
on
can barely
him.
Look at him without him crying. She was his best friend.
I guess I would say this about the window. When they told me Chloe
Look at that.
had died, I didn't know that she went
No
on a
tears.
walk. I just saw Sam standing next to me. Say this else about the window. When they told me Chloe had died, I didn't know that she went out a window. I just saw Sam standing next to the wall of windows by the kid's splash pad, screaming and banging on it. And
Maybe she
it was
got
like
one
somebody
little
from Royal
tear out of it.
Caribbean.
Maybe she got one little thing to fall on this left cheek. But no, lady, I know what real crying is. I know how it feels to lose a loved one and to bawl your eyes out. Like a month later, still bawling your eyes out. Another month passed, you're just still bawling your eyes out. Like when you think about it, just bawl your eyes out.
Trying to stop me. And I just kept saying, take me to my baby. Where is my baby?
No,
Take
I
me to
still
my
don't see
baby.
that
I
tear. I
didn't
thought I
even
saw a
notice.
tear.
There was like somebody from
I thought
Royal
I saw a
Caribbean that
tear.
kept trying to stop me.
I don't see it.
And I
I'm
just
not
kept
seeing
saying,
it.
take me to my
I thought I
baby.
saw
Where is
one.
my baby? Take me to my baby. I didn't even notice a window. I ran over there and I looked over.
Alright, look. Hold on.
And it
So I gotta do this on something with higher quality. I can't see shit on her face.
wasn't water down there. It was concrete. It was just
I saw a little dried up tear, but there's really no tears on her face.
honestly, to lose our baby this way is just unfathomable.
But even in those moments of despair, Wiegand found
And people are wicked. Like people throw their husband or wife overboard. And people kill their kids, murder their kids, you know. I wouldn't be surprised if it came out that these two were involved with the grandpa and letting that baby drop 11 stories. I wouldn't be surprised.
hope, help, and solace.
This one mother just came and held me and embraced me, and I'll never forget it. She just said, God, watch over this family.
And there's no video of none of this. I mean, of inside the ship and her being hugged. There's no video of nothing really. They're gonna have video of the baby dropping. That's about it. That's when the court case start. Cause they said in the previous video they have the footage.
I want to thank her. I don't know where she is or who she is.
As shock turned into sorrow, each family member wrestles with their own pain.
There was one point where my son said, Mom, I wish I would have been standing there because I would have jumped and I would have saved her. And that was
Dude, you want saving her?
because I know that he believes that, you know. And to know he's living with that, it's just so hard. I never want another mother to
Yeah,
have
no
to
tears,
experience
no
this,
tears, no
to see
tears.
what I had to see, or to scream.
Eyes not
how I had to
red.
scream, or to have to console their child.
His forehead red. He's a redneck. He's red.
You blame the cruise company?
We obviously blame them. There are a million things that could have been done to make that safer. I know my mom was asking people, why on earth is there a window open on the 11th floor without a screen or anything? And their response to that was, we need ventilation. Well, to that I would say, get a fan. Come up with some other mechanism.
Get a fan. You don't own a ship, lady. Also, once again, have you ever heard of kids jumping out of a window on a cruise ship? No, you never heard of that. You ever heard of kids jumping out of a window of a speeding car on a highway? No, no. Like the window wasn't high enough for your daughter to reach by herself anyway. The only way your daughter got up to that window was because grandpa lifted her up 5, 6 feet in the air and then dropped her 11 stories down onto pavement. That's how that happened. There's no child safety because there's never been a case I've heard of a kid jumping out a window. It's not like kids are jumping out of cruise ship windows left and right because people have common sense, lady.
To make your guests comfortable.
And your father lacked common sense, so lacked common sense, and he dropped your daughter 11 stories to her death, smack down on the pavement. You know how hurtful that was to the baby. You know that baby died in pain. That was painful. If this is legitimate, that baby died in pain. You do understand that?
rather than creating a tremendous safety hazard that cost our child her life.
Would you like to see the cruise company held responsible in court?
I think that they have to be. This cannot happen to another family.
The family has now hired an attorney who has sued cruise lines in the past.
There's no doubt this was an accident, but really the singular question is, were there safety measures that could have been in place and should have been in place?
Michael Winkleman again with the man.
And if they were in place, again, there would have been no tragedy.
Royal Caribbean tells today in a statement, "We are deeply saddened by this incident and our hearts go out to BBC News.
We will not do that because that's not who Chloe was. Chloe was the light, and that's what is going to get us through every single day. We have to go on for her. We can't give up."
Such a heartbreaking story. Obviously, they are looking into what they think that the cruise company should or shouldn't have done. As you saw, we reached out to them. The attorney for the family.
You see the guy in the window waving. I don't know what he hold him, but the guy, you see the black guy, and you see the guy behind him in the window waving, like, "Hey, dude, we see you. Hey, what up?"
As he has repeatedly requested footage from cameras on the ship, as well as a vessel inspection.
I guess that's a picture of a
More than
baby.
anything,
I don't know what he
they just wanted to
holding.
tell Chloe's story. You know, this is a little girl that meant so much, meant everything to them, and they want people to know that she lived and what an extraordinary little child she was.
All right, what's the other video we got on this? Let's go to the next video on this. Hey. Yeah, that's a different story. I'm not going to that story. Let's go to the pops.
Oh,
Yes.
and it's on rollback.
So cool. She's gonna love this.
I did a video about Christmas and Krampus and demons and Germany and Christmas and demons. Let's go to my channel and check it out. All right, let's start this.
So
Let me rewind it for y'all.
I remember trying to find her on the floor, and then I remember trying to find.
Okay, he said he remembers trying to. Okay, this is the grandfather who dropped that baby girl out of an 11-story window, claim it was an accident. And again, they have sued the cruise liner for safety reasons. When in this case, you know, common sense is greater than safety. And I say that because it's common sense to not jump out of a window. And it's common sense to not, like, put a baby up on a railing when there's clearly no window closed.
Find her on the floor, and then I remember trying to find her on the floor, and then I saw her fall. I saw her fall the whole way down. I remember trying to find her on the floor, and then I saw her fall. I saw her fall.
Okay, he remembered trying to find her on the floor, then saw her fall. So I guess he thought she fell on the floor. I don't know, Pops. But then you saw her fall, so already, the first 2 seconds, 7 seconds, he's lost in his own speech. Because that don't make sense. The first 7 seconds don't make sense at all. Don't add up. So you look down to see if she fell on the floor, but you saw her fall. Why would she fall on the floor if you didn't see her fall backwards? You saw her fall forward out the window 11 stories. So why would you say I looked on the floor to see if she was there? She was in your arms, dog. You know which way she fell. She didn't fall backwards onto the floor. She didn't fall 6 feet onto the floor. She fell 11 stories outside onto the pavement. So let's watch his acting. And he is charged with murder. He's going to court. So let's watch his acting. Because the prosecutors believe he did it on purpose. So let's watch his acting.
The whole way down. I remember trying to find her on the floor, and then I saw her fall. I saw her fall the whole way down. I saw her fall, and I was just in disbelief. I was like, oh my God.
In an interview with CBS News, Sam Anello says he was in shock after his 18-month-old granddaughter, Chloe Wiegand's fatal flaw in July from a Royal Caribbean cruise ship docked in Puerto
Sama, a
Rico.
man.
I just
Anyway.
remember screaming that I thought there was glass there. I thought there was glass there.
The 51-year-old grandfather says he picked up the toddler so she could look outside and bang on the windows, sitting her on a railing against what he thought was a closed window near the ship's...
Okay. So here we go. They go to railing. So the railing on the inside reaches out maybe a couple inches on the inside. So don't reach out like a counter, but it reaches out close enough for him to sit her on the railing. So on the inside, maybe like 2 inches of railing for her to sit on, 3 inches. He set her on a railing and let go. Not exactly let go. He let go with one hand, then she fell out the other hand. Like he lost his grip on her somehow. So the railing wasn't that thick.
children's play area. Anello says it was a horrible accident, not a crime. His defense attorney in Puerto Rico. Do the charges seem appropriate to you?
No, but it's not for me to... I'm not a prosecutor.
Prosecutors say...
Stop smiling, dude. That was not funny. Now, in this movie, there's a dead child, and I wouldn't be smiling at your attorney. I would not be smiling at the camera.
Seem appropriate to you? Anello says it was a horrible accident, not a crime. His defense attorney in Puerto Rico. Do the charges seem appropriate to you?
No, but it's not for me to... I'm not a prosecutor.
Prosecutors say it was a crime, negligent homicide, a key piece of their evidence.
Negligent homicide, so it seemed appropriate. Somebody died. He was in the hands. They got the video where the kid was in his hands. And of course, he's quiet in the background in the elevator.
The ship's security video. Does the video show something that we...
I'm not a prosecutor.
Prosecutors say it was a crime, negligent homicide, a key piece of their evidence, the ship's security video. Does the video show something that we don't know?
We can tell you that we have a very solid case.
You feel confident that your
Yes.
case will show a criminal act?
Of course.
Last July, Savannah sat down with Chloe's...
So they feel confident that he committed a criminal act. They couldn't put first-degree murder because they don't have a manifesto. Okay, they did this interview in this July of 2019. So, and I think it happened June then.
parents.
I didn't know that she went out a window. I just saw Sam
So we saw this interview, or most of it.
standing next to the wall of windows by the kid's splash pad, screaming and banging on it.
Royal Caribbean issued a statement following the charges, saying in part, "This was a tragic incident, and out of respect for the family's privacy, we refer you to the authorities for further comment." The family telling Savannah they believe Royal Caribbean is to blame for having an open window in the children's play area on the ship.
Come up with some other mechanism to make your guests comfortable rather than creating a tremendous safety hazard.
She said come up with some other mechanism to make your guest safety than making a tremendous hazard. Lady, it was a window for air. What other mechanism do you want them to come up with? Like, I mean, that's the normal type of window. Unless they make changes to how they open windows and how much of the window gets open.
Cost our child her life.
Royal Caribbean has not commented on that. The family's attorney says they plan to sue the cruise line.
The question is, did Royal Caribbean use reasonable care in keeping that family safe?
For this heartbroken grandfather,
Did Royal Caribbean use reasonable care in keeping the family safe? Did the grandfather use reasonable care in keeping his granddaughter safe? And the answer is no. Putting her up on that skinny ass rail, uh, taking away your hand, one of your hands, one of your grips off of her to see if a window was open or not, and to say you lost your grip and her to fall 11 stories. Like, the grandfather, no, no.
a tragedy that will never end.
Seems like it's so not real.
I bet it doesn't seem not real. Like all those, all those kids that be saying it on TV during them school shootings. It just seemed not real. Or you only see it on TV until it happens to you.
Such a beautiful little girl. Perfect little girl.
So, Kerry, the grandfather, again, he's been charged with negligent homicide. What's next in the criminal case against him?
Well, he'll be in court next on December 17th. He has not entered a plea yet. He will decide when he goes to court whether he wants to have a trial by jury or with a judge. When we were in the courtroom, he did say to me, they can't do anything worse to me than has already happened.
Hey, Kerry, when you talk to the prosecutors, do they indicate in any way what they hope to accomplish by charging the grandfather criminally?
They have not explained why the charges, other than that they believe, as you heard, that they have the evidence that there was a crime here.
Okay.
Oh, I gotta find that video. But they say something like he stuck his head out the window before he put his daughter up there. They're saying looking at the video, he knew the window was open, and he's lying because he stuck his head out there or something. So for them to charge him, he something went down. All right, let's go to the next video. Dun dun.
For the times they are a changing. For the times they are a changing.
I hate that retarded shit.
They are a change.
Yeah, times are changing for the worse. You got so much homosexuality. You got so much fake news. You got so much of everything. Times are changing for the worse. Like, you got so much fake hate. When I say fake hate, you know what I mean. Like, you got fake hate crimes all around. Fake hate crimes. Jesse Smollett, New Jersey City.
Why did he lean forward with her? She's sitting on the wooden.
Okay, let's rewind.
New surveillance video shown to CBS News reveals the final moments before an 18-month-old girl fell to her death from the deck of a Royal Caribbean cruise ship. Chloe Wiegand was being held by her grandfather, Salvatore Anello, while the ship was docked in Puerto Rico in July. Prosecutors have charged him with negligent homicide. Our lead national correspondent, David Begnaud, is here. And David, I know that you saw this horrific video. You also spoke to the family's attorney.
We did. We did the interview last night. Look, the video is going to be a key piece of evidence in the criminal trial. That attorney is not yet releasing the video publicly, but...
You also spoke to the family.
Okay, they saw the video, but they never released it to us, the public. So this anchor saw the video, but we haven't seen the video. It's been months, and we still haven't seen the video. Anyway, the grandfather goes to court December 18th. Yesterday on 11th, they finally filed the lawsuit 7 days before the grandfather goes to court, they finally filed a lawsuit. The family against the cruise liner. Go figure. 7 days before the grandfather goes to court for his first appearance. They should have been filed that lawsuit. This happened back in June, April, June. Between April and June. So, I mean, come on, y'all. That just now filing a lawsuit? Really?
His attorney.
We did. We did the interview last night. Look, the video is going to be a key piece of evidence in the criminal trial. That attorney is not yet releasing the video publicly, but we asked to see it to better understand exactly what happened. You see what appears to be 18-month-old Chloe cross over to the side of the ship, and she stands right in front of a big bank of windows that appears to extend for probably 20 yards. A man, the attorney...
So she crossed over window, standing. So she wasn't sitting. She was standing in the window on that railing. Which, if you're standing, you know if that window open or not, Grandpa.
As is her grandfather, is seen following her. He toddles right behind her as if he's watching her.
He wanted her to bang on the window. How you not know the window was not open, fool? Come on.
This picture was given to us by the family attorney, who says this is an identical representation.
Okay, let's go back.
Seen following her. He toddles right behind her as if he's watching her. This picture was given to us by the family attorney, who says this is an identical...
Okay, so this is exactly how it looked from where... I don't understand how the hell he got over that bar. You see that bar in the middle? Like, was there... If this is identical, was there that bar right there? Because of that bar, you can't reach anybody over there to that window. You see the... Okay. This wooden bar right here. But how did he get past that so she can stand right here? Like, this picture is kind of funky, but you can see. Then you got a bar right there. So, right here, let's go right here. Let's say Grandpa walks up to this bar, walks up to this window. The window open, right? But you got this bar right here. So, how did he get past this bar to stand her right here? So, he could be standing right here. And he put his arms through here and put her right here. Cause either way, he gonna have to bend down. If this is identical, either this bar missing, or he had to bend down. And I don't know how much space is in between right here. He had to bend down with the baby and stand her up right here. So let's say this bar is missing. He's at the window. He stands her up right here. Then he moves one hand off of her to bang on the window. He realizes it ain't no window. Before he realizes it's not a window, he loses grip of her right here. She falls 11 stories to the pavement. Again, this bar, like, this freaks me out because you can't get past that bar. Like, there's no way you can go to the window and stand your child up on this ledge with this bar right here. You have to go under this bar. Even then, there's no space for you to stand up yourself if you go under this bar. Under that bar. So he stood her right here. He took one hand off of her to check for glass. There was no glass. He tried to adjust her, and he lost the grip, and she came tumbling, fell 11 stories. Now, if they showed that there was a bar where he took her to, I don't understand how he got over this. Now, he's doing too much if he's going under this with his hands up on his knees, trying to stand her up on this. Let's continue.
representation of the railing, which is about...
Okay, that's a close out. It's closest out. Yeah, there's still a bar there. So maybe later I'll go look at some photos of other cruise ships like this.
I'd say a foot in front of the actual glass on the side of the ship. The surveillance video that I had a chance to look at appears to show the grandfather. He comes to the railing. He looks over the railing for just a second. He then reaches down. He picks Chloe up. The surveillance video that
He looks over the railing. So, this is the window. This is the ledge of the window. This is the railing. So he looked over this. If this is the railing that he's talking about, he looked over this railing. This right here is not the railing. This is the sitting spot where she was. Unless they refer to this as railing. This is railing. This is just a window where she stood at. So he looked over this, then picked her up.
identical representation of the railing, which is about, I'd say, a foot in front of the actual glass on the side of the ship.
Yeah, that's a railing, because that's a foot in front of the glass. So there's no way for him to go under this railing and stand. Well, he'll only have a foot of space if it's a foot, almost 12 inches. He'll only have less than 12 inches of space.
The surveillance video that I had a chance to look at appears to show the grandfather. He comes to the railing. He looks over the railing
Looks
for
over.
just a second. He then reaches down. He picks Chloe up, and he appears to hold her over the railing. Not outside the window, but just over the railing. For just a second. The actual glass on the side of the ship.
Okay, so he comes to this window. He looks over the railing. Now, if you're looking over the railing, you can see that there's no window. This is why he's charged with homicide. One of the reasons. You see there's no window. He picks her up from behind the railing, picks her up. Then he presents her over the railing. Now, she wasn't out the window. She was right here. So he had to reach over the railing about a foot, maybe 12 inches, which you got a good arm length. You can reach that. Then he stood her up right here while reaching over the railing. Then he said he released one hand from her to check for glass. Then after that, he tried to adjust her, and that's when she fell. 11 stories. This was dangerous within itself over the railing. He didn't mention the railing. He didn't mention he did all that. And this is a little dangerous. And this is safety. They were talking about safety precautions. This is what the freaking railing is for. One reason it looked like it was for safety. Or a warning sign or something. It's a railing. Let's get back to the video.
Surveillance video that I had a chance to look at appears to show the grandfather. He comes to the railing. He looks over the railing for just a second. He then reaches down. He picks Chloe up, and he appears to hold her over the railing. Not outside the window, but just over the railing. The family attorney says the grandfather didn't realize there was no glass directly in front of him. Within 5 seconds, you see him holding Chloe, and then she falls about 150 feet below.
150 feet.
Here is family attorney Michael Winkleman. Why did he lean forward with her? She's sitting on the wooden banister. Why did he then lean forward with her?
I think it's pretty obvious why they leaned forward, and that would be so that you could get a better view.
What do you say that forward with her?
Okay, she's sitting on the wooden banister. People, let's go back because it just changed again. Oh my gosh.
I'd say a foot in front of the actual glass.
That's the wooden railing or banister. Well, I know. Is she sitting on this? Because they say he reached over and she was on this. Either way, this is dangerous and this is dangerous. So maybe ideally he had her sitting up here, but how the hell did she fall though? You still got a foot in front of you. If he was sitting right here, you still got a foot right here. If she did fall, she wouldn't fall out the window. She would fall right here onto the ground. I remember him saying he looked down to see if he can see her on the floor, but she wasn't on the floor. The grandfather said, I looked down to see if she was on the floor, and she wasn't. Instead, she was all the way over here, going out the window 110 feet. 100, yeah, well, 11 stories. So I don't get that. Right here, from right here to right here. From right here to all the way right here. Out the window. How you go from right there to right there? She didn't jump. It don't make no sense. Right there to right there. That's over a foot. That's the exact representation. It's over a foot.
Got some chicken wings.
Okay. I'm guessing.
On the side of the ship. The surveillance video that I had a chance to look at appears to show the grandfather. He comes to the railing. He looks over the railing for just a second. He then reaches down. He picks Chloe up, and he appears to hold her over the railing. Not outside the window, but just over the railing. The family attorney says the grandfather didn't realize there was no... And he appears to hold her over the railing.
Okay, now he said over the railing. I'm not going to go back. But he held her over the railing. So that's a foot over. Over a foot over the railing.
Outside the window, but just over the railing. The family attorney says the grandfather didn't realize there was no glass directly in front of him. Within 5 seconds, you see him holding Chloe, and then she falls about 150 feet below. Here is...
Okay, but he didn't hold her out the window. He held her over the railing. There was a foot of space in between the railing and the window. I understand he said he looked down on the ground to see if she fell on the floor, but she fell out the window. So, I mean, how did she get from over the railing with that foot of buffer space to all the way out the window? All the way out the window.
Family attorney Michael Winkle. Why did he lean forward with her? She's sitting on the wooden banister. Why did he then lean forward with her?
I think it's pretty obvious why they leaned forward, and that would be so that you could get a better view.
What do you say to the fact that he raised her and put her on this banister, which the cruise line might argue was not meant for young children to be sitting on it?
If that was the case and they wanted no one to sit on it, they should say no one should sit on it. There's no sign that says that. There's no warning.
Maybe it's less than a foot of space between the railing and the window. Because you got the window, then in front of the window is the banister or railing. So maybe it's less than a foot of space. 12 inches, so maybe less.
Nothing.
The cruise line might argue was not meant for young children to be sitting on it.
Cause looking at this, that's probably less than a foot of space. He set her up there. I'm not seeing a freaking railing. Anyway, she fell out that window. And she had been sitting. She was sitting right here, standing right here. Then he put his hand up to check for glass. How you not see there's no glass? I know it's nighttime, even daytime. Hand up, checking for glass. He loses grip. She falls. Right.
If that was the case and they wanted no one to sit on it, they should say no one should sit on it. There's no sign that says that. There's no warning, no nothing.
Counselor, it may be hard for some people.
I mean, there's no sign saying don't sit on the railing. Oh my gosh. Next.
To believe that the grandpa didn't know that that section of window was open. How did he know that there was glass?
The only way that you could prove or disprove anything that Sam said is based on the video and based on his testimony. Those are the only pieces of evidence you have. There are no eyewitnesses. There's no one else who's come forward to tell any different story. So all you have is Sam's testimony, his story, and the video.
After Chloe fell out of the window, the grandfather dropped to his knees, according to the family attorney, and he yelled out loud, "I just dropped my child. I thought there was glass. I thought there was glass." We have reached out to the cruise line, Royal Caribbean, for comments. So far, we have not.
It is ever online. Yeah. This is the worst day of their lives.
Boy, that's a tough one.
But punishing parental error adds a legal now to a major new development in that awful.
So, yeah. It is negligence. This is sitting on a railing, over the railing, and somehow out the window.
Family tragedy on board a cruise ship. Chloe Wiegand was just 18 months old, falling from a window on the ship's 11th deck. That's 150 feet up. Tonight, her family wants to know why that window was open. And this image tonight, that deck, those windows seen shortly after.
Okay, this is better. Look at the railing. That's less than a foot between the window. That's exactly how it looked. So he stood her up on this because he wanted her to bang on the window. So I guess she leaned forward to bang on the window. I know he let one hand go to check for glass. He said he had to adjust her, and he lost grip, and she fell out the window. So there's no way you can say she fell on the floor, because he said, well, I thought she fell on the floor. With this picture, right, there's no way to just, why would you say I thought she fell on the floor? There's no space for her to fall on the floor. Now she gotta fall backwards to fall on the floor. If she fell forward, because there's no space to fall on the floor if you fall forward. It's just straight out that window. Like, boom, 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 boom.
Her fall. Chloe's family says she was in a children's play area, and tonight, how the cruise line is now responding. Here's ABC's Ariel Reshef.
Tonight, the family of Chloe Wiegand fiercely fighting back against reports the Indiana toddler slipped through her grandfather's arms while playing near a window on this Royal Caribbean cruise.
Well, he didn't have her in his arms. He had him it was in his hands. She had him. He had her in his hands, well, not in his arms. And out in front on the railing, the smack on the glass, and she fell. He lost grip. She fell.
Ship.
This was a preventable tragedy.
The 1.5-year-old died Sunday afternoon after plummeting 150 feet from deck 11 of the Freedom of the Seas, docked in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Chloe's grandfather claiming he walked her to the glass window bank near the children's water park area, seen in this video from a cruise earlier this year.
There's a wood railing right there. He puts her up on there thinking that she's going to bang on the glass and it's going to be great. And she goes to bang on the glass, and the next thing he knows, she's gone.
An attorney.
Yeah, that's what they said. She went to bang on the glass, and she fell. At the same time, he said he was trying to see if there was glass there too, and lost grip.
The Wiegand family saying Chloe's grandfather had no idea this window was open. According to her family, Chloe loved to look through glass, pictured here face against the boards at her big brother.
She didn't like to look through glass. She didn't have no choice because she can't go on the ice ring. Like, of course, she gonna bang on the glass because she a kid. So I can't say she liked to look through glass. I mean, you gotta like looking through glass at an ice hockey game because there's nothing but glass. And kids will be kids and they'll bang on the glass. Like, come on. Like, come on.
Hockey game. The Puerto Rican police commissioner saying investigators are interviewing her family members. Their lawyer saying the cruise line should have done more to ensure the safety of the ship's youngest passengers.
Why would you ever, in a kids' play area, put windows that passengers can open?
Royal Caribbean telling ABC News they are assisting local authorities as they make inquiries after.
And Ariel Reshef with us live tonight. Ariel, of course, that surveillance video perhaps could hold more answers. And her family from Indiana is still in Puerto Rico tonight?
That's right, David. Chloe's family is still on the island tonight. Their attorney says that they have not yet decided whether they will file a lawsuit. They want to see that surveillance video and have many more questions they want answered first. David?
So many thoughts with that family.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.
In America, the zip code you're born in can determine your future. But no matter what neighborhood you grow up in, the Y creates opportunities for all. For a better us, donate to your local Y today.
This is the last photo taken of Chloe Wiegand before her death. The 18-month-old's grandfather, Sam Anello, had hoisted her to a railing along a window. This is the last photo taken of Chloe Wiegand before her death. The 18-month-old's grandfather, Sam Anello, had hoisted her to a railing along a window on a Royal Caribbean cruise ship. Unaware the window was open, Chloe leaned forward and fell out 11 stories.
It's just too much for all of us.
Today, her parents filed a civil lawsuit claiming Royal Caribbean was negligent because the cruise line didn't adequately mark the open windows so they are apparent to passengers. The ship, Freedom of the Seas, launched in 2006, has windows on the upper deck near the kids' play area that slide wide open. The lawsuit says industry standards established since then require windows prop open and only 4 inches. Royal Caribbean says it has no comment on the civil filing. Meantime, Chloe's grandfather is charged in Puerto Rico with negligent homicide.
I just wanted to express how sorry I am any of us have to be here today. I sit here broken.
Chloe's parents tell me they oppose those criminal charges for what they say was a horrific accident.
It's very hard to love someone who's gone.
And now the prosecution continues, which makes it even that much harder.
It's hard for us to just kind of step back from everything and try to heal.
There's no way you ever get over it.
Friday will be...
Even the window prop open, still not the cruise ship fault. The baby fell from the negligence of the grandfather.
Especially difficult day for the family. That would have been Chloe's second birthday. Kerry Sanders, NBC News, South Bend, Indiana.
Hey, NBC News.
Okay. Again, maybe the family up to something. The family up to something. Because they sure heck decided to sue. Even though they didn't file a lawsuit till today, December something. This happened back in June, July. And they made a decision to sue just days after the incident happened. Like, family up to something.
Yeah.
Oh Lord. Let me go back so I can go do this. Okay, we'll end this right here. And I'll be back tonight to do a quick live about something else. I don't know what. And we'll check out that last video from CBS. And to check out that last video from CBS about the cruise ship. But I'll see y'all in the next video.